also need to talk about sunscreen because the first thing I bring when I go to Waterworld is sunscreen, but I always reach for what I have. That's always what I do, but I don't know if it's really the right thing for me. So we spoke to Dr. Kohli about what sunscreens we should use and some that maybe we should leave behind. Dr. Kohli, you're wearing the florals, which is perfect for our conversation today.
Yes, I'm so ready for summer, Danny.
I know, I am too. So let's talk summer, and this is so big for me because we get outside all the time, especially us here in Colorado when it's sunny and it's beautiful out, and I'm always reaching for that sunscreen, trying to make sure.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Well, you want to stay young forever, right?
That's right.
But I'm always wondering about the SPF and what I should be reaching for, especially when it comes to my face, my neck, and if that's different for my body. What do you say?
Well, you know, here in Colorado, Danny, we have the highest per capita incidence of skin cancer.
Oh, wow.
Because if you think about it, we're actually a mile closer to the sun.
Right.
And so those UVA and UVB rays that can be damaging to our skin and increase our risk are closer to us. They're penetrating a little bit more. So sunscreen for sure is an absolute in every sun-exposed area. And the American Academy of Dermatology recommends at least a broad spectrum 30.
Okay.
But if you're going to be spending more time out in the sun, you might want to have a 50 or potentially even higher than that. But you can't stop at the sunscreen, Danny.
Okay.
So it has to be a combination of barrier protection along with the sunscreen. Because a lot of times people feel, oh, I've slathered on the sunscreen, I'm good to go.
Right.
So you really want to be wearing those, you know, wide-brimmed hats like they do at the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to wear long clothing whenever you can if it's not too hot or uncomfortable. So you really want to be using both barrier protection to cover the skin as well as sunscreen, particularly on parts that you can't cover, such as your neck and your face.
Okay, that's great to know. I want to ask you too, because a lot of our segments lately too, we've been talking about topical products. You know, we did a whole segment on our dry shampoo and how that absorbs and how it's not good for you. What about sunscreen? I mean, are there chemicals we need to be looking out for in certain sunscreens we buy? What do you think?
Yes, and there's a whole list of chemicals that's actually been published by the American Academy of Dermatology that are very dangerous, that are commonly found in some of the sunscreens. So I would say whenever you're thinking about buying a sunscreen, just check the ingredients on the back and just go to that website and try to see if there's any of those chemicals there, because some of them can cause endocrine problems. When you're applying something to your skin, Danny, think about your skin as the largest organ that we have.
Right.
And the skin is porous, so whatever we apply seeps in and actually gets into our bloodstream. So we don't want to be putting chemicals on there that would be getting into our bloodstream and potentially causing harm.
Yeah.
In fact, some sunscreens have even been found to have nanoparticles in them that could potentially absorb. And personally, I try to avoid the sunscreens that have the propellants.
Okay.
So those spray ones, even though they're a little easier to use than the cream ones, which are a little stickier. But in general, when you're propelling something with a spray, it penetrates the skin a little bit differently. So I just try to stick with the cream sunscreens. But there's a good website that sort of tells you which chemicals you ought to avoid.
Okay, that's great to know. And while we're on that topic too, you know, a lot of us really do want to preserve our skin and make sure that we stay out of the sun, but we still want that glow. So we'll reach for whether it's a spray or a you know, lotion that we rub on that has some of those tanning products in them, those tanning lotions, right?
Yes.
What about those? Are those good for us? Not really?
Well, much better than the tanning beds, of course, and then tanning, because tanning is a sign of injury to the skin.
Yes.
You know, so even though we think that beautiful warm glow is a sign of health, it's actually a sign of disease.
Yeah.
You know, but there are some tanning lotions out there that have chemicals that can, again, seep into the skin and actually cause problems with your hormonal function.
Okay.
So you want to make sure you check the ingredients on those tanning lotions. For the most part, they're pretty benign.
Okay.
When you put those lotions on, they just react to create basically that pigment with the dead skin cells that you have. So most of it is not getting in, but some of it might actually get in. So you do want to essentially check those chemicals and make sure that it's not something that's advised against with those tanning creams. The other thing you want to remember is that they don't have sun protection.
Right.
So when you're putting on that tanning cream on your skin, you cannot forget that sunscreen.
Right.
Because that's one of the ways in which it makes it more dangerous, because psychologically you think, oh, I've already put something on my skin, and it looks like you have protection because your skin is darker, and then you go out into the sun and then you expose yourself to those rays.
Okay. Oh my goodness, there's so much to think about, guys. But again, just avoiding the sun in general, or again, putting on some of that good sunscreen, and just check the labels. Honestly, that's the biggest thing that we've gotten from Dr. Kohli. Check those labels. Thank you so much, Dr. Kohli.
My pleasure.
Guys, follow Dr. Kohli on social media, and if you have a topic or question for Dr. Kohli, message us on our Facebook page, Colorado and Company on 9 News. Your topic may just end up on the show.